Welcome back to some new petty revenge stories, where people share small victories over those that wronged them. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called The Unknown Code. My first office job out of college was working as a graphic designer at a big iconic store in downtown New York City. It was such a fun job. I loved everything about it, except my terrible salary and my supremely douchey young boss. He was the worst. He was young and tried so hard to be cool. A total poser. He was wearing band t-shirts of bands he didn't listen to, but thought they were cool. He wore glasses without a prescription. He pretended to know everything about fine whiskey. He was incorrectly correcting people's pronunciation. And he was always mentioning the trendy barber or hair salon he would go to get a haircut. This was in 2014. He got a pair of Google glasses and wore them constantly for a while. He also always had a red paisley hanky folded neatly into a triangle hanging out the back pocket of his jeans. Clearly he didn't know what the hanky code was. It's the signal gay guys used in the 1970s and 80s to signal what they were into. But he just thought it looked cool. He went around like this for more than a year, totally oblivious, and I never told him about the hanky code. I'm a good illustrator. I did many graphics for the website and email campaigns, in-store signs and window displays using my own illustrations. On my last day I made a little card for him and left it in his desk drawer for him to find later. I drew a couple of men's butts in jeans with hankies in different colors, and in the card I just wrote, Google hanky code. I wish I could have seen his reaction when he found it. The next story is called Screwed Them Back. I fell down my stairs Thursday morning, less than 2 hours before I was to be at work. I work at my local gas station making pizzas and other food items. I couldn't find my own replacement, so I went to work. I bruised my ribs quite badly. I was 9 minutes late clocking in, and I told my boss right away what happened, and I was moving kinda slow. Friday, I clocked in 6 minutes late, because the registers were being used and I couldn't clock in right away. I told them I have to leave for a doctor's appointment after 4 hours, as it's the only time I can be seen before the weekend, which I also work. Thanks to medication, I fell asleep after sending the kids to school and woke up 5 minutes before I was supposed to be at work. I immediately messaged both the manager and the kitchen person on duty for the next hour that I was running late and I will be there before she leaves at 11, which I was. Monday, I get written up for being late and leaving early. Now, the doctor didn't just give me medication. He wanted to give me a work release for the weekend, as well as Monday and Tuesday, our truck day. But I told him no, because I didn't want to screw my teammates and my boss over, cause it was a busy weekend. So on Tuesday, after I get off my 2-hour early morning shift of putting frozen crab away with still bruised, still painful ribs, I go to the doc again. I say, I guess I should have taken your note, doc. I got written up for being late the days of my known injury. Sure would be nice to have an even longer note now. Say, till next Monday maybe. That's how I got a week off work. Then I wrote a message to my boss. Hey boss, as you know, I fell down my steps on Thursday. When I went to the doc on Friday, he tried to give me a note off work. But I told him if he gave me one, I wouldn't turn it in, because I wasn't leaving my team high and dry, and that would screw my boss over. Well, when I went back to him today, I told him I should have taken that note, because I got written up for my tardiness due to my injury. He told me I'm not healing very fast due to work, so if I didn't take this one, he was bringing it to you himself. I wanted to give it to you ASAP as I'm not getting back to town for a while. I will bring the physical copy in when I get back home. This is the third time they have tried to screw with me, but this time I put them way deeper into the dirt than they knocked me into. I wonder when they will learn to just leave me be and let me work. The third story is called Questioning Her Sanity. Back in the fall of 2018, I scored a seasonal gig as a production assistant for a weeks-long art festival in the Midwest. I loved the other production assistants I worked with. We were a pretty motley crew in terms of age and interests, but somehow hit it off really well as a group. Even upper management was awesome, so we had a lot of fun together. Suffice it to say, I loved my co-workers, all but one. Let's call her condescending Connie. At our morning stand-ups, Connie managed to take credit for everything that got done the day before, despite not having lifted a finger to help us. She even managed to aim subtle put-downs at the person who actually did the work without her help, implying that we were the ones who sat around. She never outright said this though. She was careful to toe the line short of saying outright lies we could call her out on. But of course, this didn't sit right with me. So, one of my tasks as a production assistant was stocking and tagging merchandise for the art festival's gift shop. Just after I finished using the tagging gun to price some shirts, Connie threw her jacket behind the shop counter, ignoring my hello, and walked back out again. I don't know what synapses fired in my brain to give me this idea, but I picked up her jacket and took out the pricing gun to punch a price tag fastener through the clothing label. You know, one of those little pieces of plastic that get left behind on the label when you try to rip the price tag off by hand. I don't know what I was thinking, but I put her jacket away a little happier, knowing it might be a mildly irritating inconvenience. Wouldn't you know it, a few weeks later, I was again tasked with pricing new hats and shirts and such, and noticed that Connie had left her jacket behind. She had apparently removed the little plastic nib I left earlier, so I took the liberty of punching a new one in. This continued over the course of my seasonal job. Every 2 to 6 weeks or so, I would sporadically punch a little price tag fastener through the hats and scarves and jackets she left behind the counter. Because Connie had never actually seen anyone use the pricing gun, and because it's such a minor little thing to happen over the course of multiple articles of clothing over months of time, it never seemed to occur to her that someone was doing this behind her back. I'm pretty sure she legitimately questioned her sanity by the end, wondering if she could trust her clear as day memories of cutting the plastic tag piece away, only to find it intact days or weeks later. One afternoon in the lunchroom, I overheard Connie talking to someone on the phone and actually saying something to the effect of, "I think I'm losing my mind." That made me feel guilty enough that I decided to address her later and own up to my prank. But as soon as she ended the call, I heard her raise her voice with an elderly volunteer for setting some pamphlets down in the wrong area. So, needless to say, I kept going. Even when she moved her jacket and bags and such to different hiding spots, I found ways to smuggle in the price gun and punch in another tag fastener. I regret nothing. The last story is called Bad Online Retailer. This happened about a year ago. When we bought and gutted our house, I had ordered a whole new high-efficiency HVAC system online from a retailer I had bought from before. Good so far. My local HVAC guy had done the ductwork and installed the system. Everything went fine. When we finally moved in, we noticed the second floor was a bit warm and called our guy. Unfortunately, he decided to retire. So I called another company and they come out to check the system. Realized that the condenser is too small for our house as well as the main trunk is too small. They were spaced together by the online retailer. Well, of course I'm not happy, but I swallow it and order a large condenser from the online retailer, while the HVAC guy changes the main trunk. The new unit was supposed to be Friday in after my vacation at the beach. Awesome. Well, awesomeness didn't last long. While on vacation, I get a notification that the unit had been delivered. I thought it was strange, because it was 3 weeks ahead of my schedule and my doorbell cam didn't go off. So I open my doorbell cam and I certainly see the unit, but the unit is 60 feet away on the street. I immediately call the online retailer and tell them that I'm not home and that the delivery company left the unit in the street and I need them to at least get it onto the porch. They didn't care. Kept saying, "Not our problem. We are not the delivery company." They refused to call the delivery company or help in any way. I keep trying to get a supervisor to talk to them about the situation, but the rep refused to do it. After 45 minutes on the phone, they just disconnected me. At this point, I'm panicking, because someone is certainly gonna see it and it's gonna be thrown on the back of a pickup by someone. Finally, I call a friend who leaves work and grabs his father-in-law. They manage to wrangle this monstrosity into the backyard. Disaster averted. At this point though, I'm seriously mad. Then I remembered I paid for the unit via PayPal. So just to mess with them and be petty, I filed a grievance with PayPal for the price I paid for the unit. I wholly expected this to go nowhere, as the seller would have proof of delivery, etc. It was more just to be petty, not really expecting anything. So now it's almost 2 weeks later, and I get an email that PayPal is refunding me $3,700. Apparently, PayPal tried to contact them several times with no response, so they just gave it back to me. I did set the money aside in case the online retailer tried to come after me. After 6 months though, they didn't. It's been a year now, and not a peep. The money gave my wife and I a very nice weekend getaway. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.